All right, so we can start off with the top of the polls, Tennessee, who has Alabama coming to visit them. Alabama is just outside the top 25 for a lot of polls. If they can take a game off of Tennessee, I would call that a very successful weekend for them, which is ridiculous considering just the scenario of college baseball, of how usually one win is all right on that's what you're kind of expected to do on a road series if it's two competitive teams. But Tennessee just looks by far the best team in the nation. But they did have a relatively close game last week on Sunday against one of if not the worst SEC team in Missouri. So it is possible to beat them. You just have to play extremely well and to the highest of your potential to have a chance.
Yeah, and building off what you said, that Alabama going in there and taking one game would be a success. I'd go as far to say if Alabama wins one game and is fairly competitive in the series, they will move into the top 25 rankings for a lot of people. They just swept Ole Miss, which was massive, even though Ole Miss dropped out of the rankings for a lot of people. Still a quality series win. And yeah, huge chance for Alabama to prove themselves. We'll see what they're able to do.
Yeah, for sure. And then we can jump to number 2, Miami at Virginia Tech. It's a road series for Miami, and Virginia Tech is also another team that is close to the top 25. So good road test for the second hottest team in the nation. And if Virginia Tech can get the series win, then I think they will probably earn their spot in the top 25 next week.
Yeah, big opportunity for Virginia Tech. Just took 2 out of 3 off of a ranked NC State team who's been pretty inconsistent this year, but nonetheless a quality series win for Virginia Tech. Miami, on the other hand, has 3 straight sweeps now. And to be honest, I think this is a potential letdown spot for them. Just knocked off the number 2 or 3 team in the country, depending on what poll, and did it in a pretty dominant fashion. So definitely a letdown spot for them in my eyes.
Definitely. I think Miami right now would need a miracle to jump Tennessee. So in the short term, their goal should just be to maintain that number 2 spot for a few weeks, and hopefully Tennessee trips up somewhere.
Agreed.
All right, and then dropping down to number 5, Texas Tech. They're visiting TCU, who we probably have at number 26 right now, right outside the top 25. Losing to Texas last week. And this is the perfect opportunity for TCU to rebound from a close series and show that they deserve to be a top 25 team. So a lot of these first few games that we're covering are a team that is trying to get back into the top 25 against a powerhouse team. And this is another one of those examples. But TCU really doesn't get a break after this because they follow this up with number 7 Oklahoma State next weekend after. So these next few weeks are really make or break for them.
Yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, TCU was competitive in that series with Texas, so not a bad series loss, but they did fall out of the top 25 for most people. And the good news is they're at home this weekend hosting Texas Tech, so perfect opportunity to build that resume and get back in the top 25. As for Texas Tech, it's a tough test on the road. TCU's not an easy place to play at, so we'll see what they're able to do on the road against a quality Big 12 program.
Yes, sir. And then the next game we have highlighted is potentially the best, most high quality for both teams this week, with number 13 LSU at number 8 Arkansas, which should be the best SEC series this weekend, but as we've seen in the past, somehow it's going to end up in a sweep with the best series on the line. But we'll see which LSU team shows up because, as I said, this could easily be a sweep for either team. With LSU, you never know which one you're going to get. They have put together a few good weeks now, so you'd really hope that they can keep that going, but it just depends on the defense and if it falls apart or not.
Yeah, like you said, could see a sweep either way. Neither one would be a surprise, but LSU has been looking pretty good as of late. And if that offense keeps mashing, the sky's the limit for them. And Arkansas just faltered last weekend with the series loss to Florida, so they're definitely looking vulnerable, and it's a great opportunity for LSU to prove that they do belong in the talk of the top teams in the country.
Definitely. And now we are going to fly out west for the best West Coast series with number 23 Stanford at number 10 UCLA. Probably the two hottest teams in the Pac 12 right now, with Stanford's offense finally getting rolling this past weekend against ASU. But it looks like UCLA's dynamic freshman pitcher, who has been starting most of their Sundays, is out for the season, which is unfortunate. It looks like he had a stress fracture in his back. So while UCLA still has a really good pitching staff, this opens them up to being susceptible on Sundays.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they lose the Sunday starter, and this past weekend they just lost the Sunday game to Utah, who is a better program this year than they have been in the past, but not a team you necessarily want to be losing games to. Stanford currently sits at 9-6 in the Pac-12, while UCLA is 8-4. And this is the last top team Stanford has to play in the conference. When we're talking about top teams, we're talking about those projected 5 bids the Pac 12 will most likely get. Both the Oregon teams, Arizona, Stanford, UCLA. Stanford has played 3 of the 4 besides themselves so far, and UCLA is the last team they need to play. So once this is over, Stanford's gone through the tough part of the schedule, and depending on where they come out on top, they'll know if they need to start sweeping some teams or if they're going to be able to coast a little moving forward.
Yeah, the story of this series should be Stanford's offense versus UCLA's pitching. And so far this season, UCLA has won most of those types of games where it's been that style of matchup, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, UCLA's pitching staff has shut down some good offenses so far. They did it on the road at Arizona, winning 2 out of 3 there, and then they shut down Oregon, swept them at home when Oregon came in, tied for the lead in the country for batting average. So UCLA's pitching staff is hot, but they did lose the Sunday starter, and like you said, that's definitely the matchup to highlight.
Yeah, and the last series that I want to talk about would be number 17 Florida at number 24 Vandy. This is Vanderbilt's chance to win a good series. They haven't done it yet, and if they fail again, then they have to do very well at the end of the year when they face some more top SEC teams. But Vandy is 3-7 over the past 10 games, so they really need to step up soon to prove that they are the Vandy people are used to.
Yeah, like you said, both these teams are on the fringe of the top 25. Florida just jumped in after beating Arkansas, but if they lose the series and especially if they get swept, there's a decent chance they fall back out depending on what people do around them. So, uber important series for both of these teams to prove they're part of the top class in the SEC.
Yeah, Florida made up for getting swept by Georgia a few weeks ago by winning the series against Arkansas, like you said. So they'll be looking to continue and follow in those footsteps and try to do that against a Vandy team that has been struggling and really doesn't have any quality wins so far. But besides that, do you have any other weekend series to highlight?
No, I think that's all we got for this weekend.